Mind-blowing alternate scenarios. What if Napoleon had won at Waterloo? What if the Titanic had never sunk? Or what if the United States had lost the Revolutionary War? These are the tantalizing questions that keep history buffs awake at night. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of historical what-if scenarios, exploring how a single twist of fate could have completely altered the course of history. Let's get started. The Revolutionary War, an alternate ending. Imagine if the United States had lost the Revolutionary War. The 13 colonies might have remained under British control for decades longer, possibly into the modern era. Without a decisive break from the crown, would the Industrial Revolution have taken root as quickly in America? Would America have become a breeding ground for innovation if it were still under the thumb of King George? Think about it. The Founding Fathers wouldn't have had the freedom to establish their own government, their own laws, their own destiny. Would those brilliant minds have flourished under the constraints of the British Empire? Or would their potential have been stifled? And what about democracy itself? Would the principles of self-governance and individual liberty have spread as they did? Or would monarchies have dominated the global landscape for a longer period? Would the world even be ready for democracy? Remember, the American experiment was just that, an experiment. It was a radical departure from the norm, a bold leap of faith in the power of the people. The impact, delayed democracy, slower technological growth, and possible global shifts in power. Some historians believe the British Empire's resources would have been stretched thinner, possibly weakening its global dominance earlier. Think about it. Maintaining control over the colonies would have required a massive commitment of troops, money, and resources that could have been used to strengthen their position elsewhere in the world. The ripple effects? Mind-blowing. Imagine a world where the British Empire never reached the heights of its power, where other European nations rose to prominence instead. Would we have seen the rise of a different global superpower? Would the world be carved up differently? These are the questions that keep me up at night. But it's not just about global power dynamics. It's about the very fabric of American society. Without the revolution, there's no guarantee that the United States as we know it would even exist. No Bill of Rights, no Constitution, no ideals of liberty and justice for all. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? To think that the nation we know and love, the land of the free and the home of the brave, might have never come to be. And it all hinges on a single question. What if the United States had lost the Revolutionary War? The Roman Empire, an enduring legacy. The fall of the Roman Empire, one of the mightiest civilizations in human history, marked the beginning of the Dark Ages in Europe. But what if Rome had never fallen? What if the empire had endured, its legions holding firm against the barbarian hordes? Imagine centuries of uninterrupted advancements in engineering, science, and governance. The Roman aqueducts, those marvels of ancient engineering, still stand today, a testament to their ingenuity. Now imagine what they could have achieved with centuries more of progress. Could humanity have reached the moon by the 15th century? Or invented the internet by 1800? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. The Romans were masters of concrete, a material that's only now being fully understood and utilized for its incredible properties. They had a complex system of roads and aqueducts that spanned their vast empire. They even had rudimentary steam engines. Without collapse, there would be accelerated technological progress, centralized governance, and fewer dark ages. But there's a flip side to this coin. Some argue that without the diversity of competing states that followed Rome's collapse, innovation might have stagnated. Would a monolithic Roman Empire have fostered the same spirit of competition and innovation that we saw during the Renaissance? Would we have seen the same flourishing of art, literature, and science? Or would a centralized bureaucratic empire have stifled creativity and progress? It's a question that has no easy answer. On the one hand, a unified Roman Empire could have provided stability and resources for scientific advancement. On the other hand, the fragmentation of Europe after Rome's fall led to a decentralized system of universities and patronage that fostered intellectual competition and innovation. So would we be further ahead technologically if Rome had never fallen? Or would we be stuck in a rut, our progress stifled by a lack of competition and fresh ideas? It's a tantalizing question, and one that historians and scientists will continue to debate for centuries to come. But here's the thing about history. It's not just about dates and facts. It's about exploring the possibilities, the what-ifs, the alternate realities that could have been, and that's what makes it so fascinating. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Chapter 3, A World War II, Axis Victory, a chilling possibility. Now let's tackle one of the biggest what-ifs of modern history. What if the Axis powers had won World War II? It's a chilling thought, isn't it? To imagine a world where Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan emerge victorious from the deadliest conflict in human history. The world map, as we know it, would be unrecognizable. Nazi Germany, with its ideology of racial purity and Aryan supremacy, could have extended its grip across Europe and beyond. Imagine a world where the swastika flew over Paris, London, even Moscow. Imperial Japan, with its dreams of a greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere, could have dominated the Pacific, its iron fist crushing any resistance in its path. The horrors of Unit 731, their biological and chemical warfare research unit, might have been unleashed on a scale that boggles the mind. Freedom of speech, democracy, human rights, these cornerstones of modern civilization might have been crushed under the weight of totalitarian regimes. The world would be a very different place, a much darker place. But even in this bleakest of timelines, there's a glimmer of hope. History has taught us that tyranny often sows the seeds of its own destruction. The very brutality of the Nazi and Japanese regimes might have ignited a firestorm of resistance, a global underground movement fighting for liberation. Imagine a world where the French resistance, emboldened by the Allied victory, never laid down its arms. Imagine a world where the brave men and women who fought against fascism continued their struggle, their courage fueled by the knowledge that they were humanity's last hope. And here's another thought. Could an Axis victory have paradoxically accelerated technological development? Think about it. The Cold War, with its relentless arms race, pushed both the United States and the Soviet Union to their technological limits. Could a similar dynamic have played out in a world where the Axis powers held sway? Would the need to counter their technological might have spurred other nations to develop even more advanced weapons, communication systems, and even space travel? It's a question that's impossible to answer definitively. But it's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, human ingenuity and the thirst for freedom can find a way. Chapter 4, The Black Death. A Pandemic Averted? The Black Death wiped out an estimated 30 to 60% of Europe's population in the 14th century. Imagine entire villages decimated, cities turned into ghost towns. But what if it never happened? What if the plague, carried by fleas on rats, had never reached Europe? What would the world look like today? Europe's population could have grown exponentially. Cities might have swelled, and the Industrial Revolution might have arrived earlier. Imagine steam engines and factories in the 15th century. But there's a catch. Rapid growth without advancements in agriculture and sanitation could have led to overcrowding and food shortages. Imagine the slums of London or Paris, but on a much larger scale. The social fabric of Europe might have been stretched to its breaking point. The Black Death led to the decline of feudalism. Landowners had to offer better wages to attract laborers. It also paved the way for the Renaissance. Without the Black Death, would we have seen the same cultural and scientific revolutions? Would Michelangelo have painted the Sistine Chapel? Would Leonardo da Vinci have conceived of flying machines and submarines? It's impossible to say for sure, but it's fascinating to consider how a single event could have such a profound impact on history. The Black Death is a reminder that progress isn't always linear. Sometimes it takes a cataclysmic event to challenge the status quo and pave the way for a new era. So, the next time you read about the Black Death, think of it as a turning point, a catalyst for change, a reminder that even in the face of suffering, humanity adapts, innovates, and moves forward. History is full of twists and turns, and even the smallest change could have set us on a completely different path. Which historical what-if do you find the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the mysteries of history. Thanks for watching History Ham, where the past comes alive.